Welcome to the Tait podcast. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Yeah, fucking yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 19 of the Tait Talks podcast. I'm the host, Tait Middleton. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere like that, please like and subscribe, all that fucking shit. This is just me again talking about travel stories. I got a good amount of responses from the San Pedro prison episode last week in La Paz, Bolivia. I don't think I said La Paz correctly once in that episode last week. So I'm doing part 2 travel stories. I was going to do it a bit further down the track. I just got a pool table put in the studio. As you can hear, that nice timber. So it looks a little bit different. I'm in a different spot. And yeah, got a pool table now. So the fucking podcast is killing it. I'm rich as fuck. Pool tables, cocaine, whores, private jets, all that shit I can't afford. But I did buy a pool table with my mates about 7 years ago, and I finally got it from one of the boys' houses, and now it's in the studio. It's getting fixed up next week, so pretty excited about shit to do in summer, as in staying indoors and playing pool, because that's what you do in summer. You stay inside. Next Thursday, the 3rd of December, the Tait and Cody's Guide to Life podcast drops. Please check that out on Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz. It's on all the same streaming services, all the same podcast apps, all that shit. It's with Cody Jones. He is my friend. He's also a comedian and podcaster on the Flow State podcast. So please check that out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of weird and wacky travel stories. You're not really learning anything like I try and do in this podcast. It's pretty much just me saying how much of a piece of shit I am and the extremely dumb fucking things I've done in my life that keep on popping up in the episodes. They are shorter episodes. They're only about 25 to 30 minutes long. Small, digestible episodes. Hopefully the same with this episode. Now, episode 19, which is right fucking now, I'm going to talk about running with the bulls. Spain, Pamplona, right? 2015, I was lucky enough to run with the bulls, or waddle. It was a very crazy experience. I saw a lot of people get injured. It was it was fun, but at the very end of the run and stuff, it only lasts for about 10 minutes to run. I'll go into that later on, but I thought to myself, that was fucking dumb. I would never, ever do that again. I'm kind of being a bit of an advocate for people not to do it, because I've seen people get fucked up. But in saying that, if you want to do it, you do it. Once again, I'll read a little bit of information. Running with the bulls, and then it's got all in Spanish shit, which I can't read because I do not know that language, is an event that involves running in front of a small group of cattle, typically 6, but sometimes 10 or more, that have been let loose on a course of sectioned off subset of the town's streets. Usually as a part of a summertime festival, particular breeds of cattle may be favoured, such as the Toro Bravo in Spain, also often used in the post-run bullfighting, and the Camaragu cattle. That's clearly wrong, but whatever. And Saint Occitan in France. So apparently they use that type. It's probably a wine and cheese eating fucking bull, I guess. Which are not fought. Alright, so they don't murder the Camargue cattle. Bulls, and then it's got bulls in brackets, non-castrated male cattle. If you don't know what a fucking bull is, do not listen to this fucking shit. Just go watch the Nature fucking channel and learn some shit if you don't know what a bull is. The most famous bull run is the Encierro, that's clearly wrong again, held in Pamplona during the 9-day festival of the San Fermins in honour of Saint Firmin. Alright? It has become a major global tourism event, today very different from the traditional local festival. More traditional summer bull runs are held in other places, such as towns and villages across Spain, Portugal, and in some cities in Mexico, and in the Occitan Camargue region of southern France. Bull running was formerly also practiced in rural England. There you go. Most famously in Stamford until 1837. So a while ago. What else have they fucking got? The Pamplona Bull Run in Ciro is the most popular in Spain and has been broadcast live by the RTVE, the public Spanish national television channel. For over 30 years, it is the highest profile event of the San Fermin Festival, which is held every year from the 6th to the 14th of July. The first bull running is on the 7th of July, followed by one on each of the following mornings of the festival, beginning every day at 8 a.m. Among the rules to take part in the event are that participants must be at least 18 years old. Now, I'm not going to lie, they did not fucking check. There was none of that shit. You just fucking jumped a rickety fence and stood in front of a bull. So you must be at least 18 years old, run in the same direction as the bulls, not incite the bulls, and not be under the influence of alcohol. Now, I'm not going to lie, the night before we did the fucking run, everyone went out and got blind drunk. Mainly because they thought, hey, probably going to die tomorrow, at least I won't be able to feel it that much when I get gored through the fucking heart. In Pamplona, a set of wooden fences is erected to direct the bulls along during the route and block off the side streets. To paint a picture, if you got one side of a road where one car drives, right, then you put up buildings on both sides of that one-way fucking street or road, that is how big the fucking street is in Pamplona. From memory, it is brutal, right? There is cunts running for their fucking lives. Now, the main thing about getting hurt, I believe, in running with the bulls is not actually the bulls. It's from actually getting trampled and pushed over and pushed into shit by other people. I myself accidentally, when I was in a terrified state trying not to die from a bull near me, just fucking ran, and I was probably about 120 kilos at the time. For the people who can't see me, I'm 7 foot tall, naturally fucking ripped, a godlike creature, some say. If you're watching on YouTube, you know I'm fucking lying, right? So I bumped this fucking dude, and he headbutted like a marble fucking wall, and he was just like, saying swear words, I assume in Spanish. He's dead now, I assume. I'm alive, so survival of the fittest, or survival of the fattest, I guess, in that circumstance. That was pretty brutal. I remember people pushing me in the back, trying to push me out of the way, vice versa, getting pushed into other people. It's pretty fucking brutal. So back to the fucking wooden fences. A double wooden fence is used in those areas where there is enough space, while in other parts the building of the street act as barriers. So the buildings, you kind of stand in the doorways of buildings when you freak out, and everyone just crams into them when you start seeing people get fucked up by bulls. The gaps in the barricades are wide enough for a human to slip through, but narrow enough to block a bull. Now, there is people just watching from the sidelines. I heard stories of if you tried to jump through the barriers when a bull was about to get you, they would like push you back out in front of the bull. Never saw any of that, just hearsay maybe. And probably it happened once and now it's a fucking folklore type thing. The fence is composed of approximately 3,000 separate pieces of wood. Jesus. Some parts of the fence remain in place for the duration of the fiesta, which I believe is a party, or probably festival maybe, while others are placed and removed each morning. Spectators can only stand behind the second fence, whereas the space between the two fences is reserved for security and medical personnel, and also to the participants who need cover during the event. Now, I can't remember seeing anyone get kicked out. I remember seeing like the what would you say, the fucking the paramedic-y type people literally just pick up knocked out people that have been like fucked up. So the problem is, what bulls do is they go down low, right? When they fucking headbutt you, they take out your legs and you flip upside down and land on your head. I probably saw it 4 or 5 times. People just do that, land on their head on like cobblestone. It was pretty brutal. I honestly think I saw a dead person. Not joking. I went around a corner. I saw a guy laying down and people were like kind of around him. This is after a couple of bulls ran through, and the space clears pretty quickly because people try and run from the start into the little stadium, and you get if you do that, you get a free ticket. You get to go in for free. Then you get to run around with the bulls if you wanted to. They release 2-year-old steers. Steer is a male bull that's had its balls chopped off, so they're still big, but they're not 1,000 kilos. They're probably 400 or something like that. It's still fucking people up. So I watched multiple people get knocked out, and they literally just picked them up and then dropped them over the fence because they were well, they're either going to get really fucked up if the bulls get a hold of them while they're KO'd on the ground. So they kind of just quickly grab them and get them out of the way, and then they do shit to them. But it seemed pretty crude at the time, and I was like, geez, if that person had a broken neck, now it's even more if they came back to life, they're gonna have another fucking if they got reincarnated, they're gonna still have a broken neck because it got broken fucking once by the bull and once by these paramedics drop them over a fence. If you're listening to this podcast, just check out fucking San Fermin on YouTube. I'm sure there's plenty of videos of people just getting picked up, thrown in the air. It's pretty brutal. The ground during what you run on is from memory cobblestone shitty stuff, in the UK. That shit when you're fucking drunk and then you roll your ankle every 8 fucking seconds because it's just fucking a shit heat ground? That's the shit they've got. Because it's old as fuck. I think it's from 1910, I believe, the fucking they started this. So this is the start of the fucking the run, right? A first rocket is set off at 8 a.m. to alert the runners that the coral gate is open. A second rocket signals that all 6 bulls have been released. The third and fourth rockets are signals that there's been 50 dead people. No, I'm just kidding. The third and fourth rockets are signals that all of the herd has entered the bull ring and the coral respectively, making an end to the event. I don't think that's coral. Corral, you fat fuck. The average duration between the first rocket and the end of the Asino is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So realistically, it's the same amount of fucking time as an amateur fucking porno, right? 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I think it's 800 meters or something. The ensayo is usually composed of 6 bulls to be fought in the afternoon. So all the fucking the bulls that run in Pamplona are slaughtered that night by bullfighters. That is unfortunately what happens. I never went to any bullfighting. I thought that was pretty brutal, to be honest. They just fucking stab them with spears and knives. I mean, it is a fucking tradition and stuff like that, but if you hold on to all the traditions, I mean, the world's going to be pretty fucking dumb. It's pretty brutal. I never saw it. I met a couple of people who went to it and they were like, ugh, it was not that fucking great. It was just animal abuse, which is not good, but I mean, it is what it is. I hate saying that, but so the ensayo is usually composed of 6 bulls to be fought in the afternoon. 6 steers run in the herd with the bulls, and 3 more steers that follow the herd to encourage any reluctant bulls to continue along the route. That was not the case. I reckon it was 6 bulls and 2 oxen, which are huge fucking things, and the bulls just followed these giant oxen. It was really strange, but it's pretty cool actually. And those oxen just fucked up everyone. The length of the run is 875 meters, or for my Americans out there, it's 957 yards. It goes through 4 streets, the old part of the city, God, I'm not even going to try and pronounce those names. Via the town hall square and the short section of the Telephonica, whatever the fuck that is. Named to the location of the old telephone office at the end of the... Why did I pick something with so many fucking Spanish words? Just before entering into the bull ring, through another Spanish word, then it's got in brackets tunnel. The fastest part of the route is up the San Domingo and across the office of the town hall square. But the bulls often became separated at the entrance of the Estrafeta street, and as they slowed down, one or more would slip going around the turn of the Estrafeta, the La Curva. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure they call that the dead man's hook. And when pretty much all of a sudden the bulls are running straight and it cuts to a fucking right angle, and these bulls running around and they don't have their Nike fucking shoes on and they just fucking skid into the wall. I was standing in that very spot and a small Spanish man came up to me and he was, like, in no uncertain terms, was like, "Move, fatty, you will die. This is where the bulls slip over and crush everyone." And literally, maybe half an hour before we did the bull run, they told us about this corner. Don't fucking stand here because you'll get crushed. And I was half pissed still, and I was like, "That seems like a good spot. Nothing go wrong here." And then the Spanish man helped me out, which was fantastic. So one or more would slip going around that turn, La Curva, resulting in the installation of anti-slip surfacing. And now most of the bulls negotiate the turn onto the Estava. They are often ahead of the steers. Okay, this has been resulted in a quicker run. Runners are not permitted in the first 50 meters of the Inserio, which is the uphill grade where the bulls are much faster. Kind of makes sense that if people are running up a hill and the bull on four legs will probably fuck your shit up, man. Injuries and fatalities. Every year between 50 and 100 people are injured during the run. Not all injuries require taking patients to hospital. 2013, 50 people were taken by ambulance to Pamplona's hospital, nearly doubling of 2012. I'm going to skip ahead because I don't care about that. So there has only been 15 deaths since 1910 of the bull run in Pamplona. 15 deaths. Now I've heard that they are skewed. That the fatalities and all that type of stats are skewed because there's little finicky rules, like you have to die on the course by the bull, and that's when they'll say you've died. So if you get gored and you're going in an ambulance on the way to the hospital and you die, they'll be like, "Yeah, you just bled to death." And then that's the reason, cause of death is bleeding to death. It's not because a bull fucking got you. It's just they're like, "Nah, he bled to death, fuck him." So it's very, very skewed, I've heard. Just a quick look. There has been, there has been 13 Spanish people die, and one American in 1995, so yeah, good on you, champ, and one Mexican. They've all died by goring, and one person in 1977, he suffocated in a pile-up. So I assume he was trampled and he just fucking couldn't breathe and died. So it's pretty brutal. As I said before, I don't know if I did, the dress code is white. You wear like a red bandana and like a red belt. I can't remember the name of the belt. So if you're going to go there, dress up, bring all your white gear, white shorts, white pants, white shirt, whatever, and go do the running with the bulls. As it's going back to the campsite, it was run by a very, very young, there was a lot of Australians, very party-ish. One of the funniest things that happened was in the middle of the night, you could hear two people fucking in their tents. It went on for about fucking 2 minutes, you hear moaning, groaning, normal sex sounds, and then there's just stopped, and then you hear the girl go, "What? Is that it?" And then you hear a couple of fucking people giggle around the tents, and then you hear a big burly voice go, "Do you want me to come help you out, mate?" And then everyone fucking started pissing themselves. And I believe that was a chick who worked there. I was just getting railed by some random fucking dude. So, yeah, that's running with the bulls in short. Watched a lot of people get fucked up. It's pretty brutal. After we did the run the next day, so to tell you what I did, we got there the night before the ceremony. The day one of the ceremony must be on the fucking 6th of July. We did the ceremony, they ring a bell, escort each other with sangria, you get fucking absolute sideways drunk. And then I think the next day we did the bull run, or maybe it's 2 days later, I'm not too sure. But then the other day, the next day after we did the run, we went early in the morning, and then we just went into the little arena, and we watched people get flipped upside down on their heads for about 2 hours by fucking steers and get all types of fucked up. You turn into an absolute monster. At the start, you're like, oh my god, these people are getting hurt, it's terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, fucking get him! Because we are fucking animals, and I can see how people got behind gladiators and shit like that, because it's fucking brutal and pretty fun. So that's my experiences with running with the bulls. I think we were there for 3 nights. I went with 2 people I worked with while I was in Surrey, living in the UK. Just trying to think of anything else. It was $90, as I said, €90 a night to camp. You do get actually, you get your food, so you get breakfast, lunch and dinner. There was a big Viking fucking dude. He was cooking everyone's food. It's pretty fun. It says open unlimited beer and wine and sangria bar. That could be new. I remember one night that they gave us beers after we did the opening ceremony. It says party atmosphere, awesome guides. They're just super fucking young. And yeah, festival entry. I can't even remember that, so that must be a part of it. So that is running with the bulls, alright? Fast forward, actually, to start with why I went. So I met 3 guys in at running with the bulls. The 2 people I went off were having a snooze during the day from a big night out, and I was having my lunch one morning, one fucking midday I should say, fucking retarded. And I met 3 dudes, really, really nice. They were one's originally from New Zealand, Janosch, and the other 2 were from Burnley, outside of fucking Manchester. Met those guys, we got on like a house on fire. Ended up moving to Manchester after my stint down in Surrey. This is still in 2015, and hung out with those 2 guys, John and what's the cunt's fucking name? Nick. Sorry if you're watching, Nick Harbour. And yeah, we hung out a few times and stuff like that. Janosch was living in Belgium, in Brussels, so we all decided to go for a weekend to Brussels, a long weekend. Unfortunately, those 2 guys left, John and Nick, and I was there for one more night before my flight to Berlin. On the morning of my flight to go to Berlin, unfortunately there was a terrorist attack. I believe, I've just got it in front of me somewhere, 35 people were injured at the airport and in the metro. There was, I think, 3 individual bombs, 2 at the airport. One of the suicide's backpacks didn't explode, which was lucky. Apparently the 2 explosions incapacitated him, or he killed him, and he wasn't able to detonate his little vest. So that's quite lucky that it wasn't 3 bombs. It injured, 340 people, and 62 were critical. It was pretty fucking brutal. So the main ones were at the Zaventem airport. I think it's their main airport, about an hour outside of Belgium. That's the one that we flew into a couple of days prior type thing, so it was pretty scary. So yeah, I woke up in the morning and to a couple of texts from mates, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What are you fucking talking about?" They were like, "There's been a terrorist attack in Brussels," and I was like, "Oh, fuck." And then probably about 20 minutes later, there was a bit of a boom, a bit of a shockwave, and they'd blown up the metro, which was pretty fucking crazy. That was, I think, one of the metros I would have had to get on to go to the airport, which was pretty crazy. I was meeting a couple of friends that I'd met from the hostel. We were going out the night prior to the bombings, and I was doing my math in my head. I was like, all right, you're drinking tonight, so just maybe not pick the 7:50 flight. I think at like 8 o'clock the bombs went off. But it was a lot cheaper, the earlier flight. I was really considering taking that flight and being at the airport when the bombings happened, which is pretty incredible. But my pure laziness, and I knew I would be hungover, kicked in because I'd done it a few times and went, I'm never doing that again. So I decided to get the afternoon flight, but I had to go there for about 10 a.m. And yeah, so it blew up. It was pretty fucking insane. I've never seen a place that was so busy and tourists everywhere just stop. Obviously it was, the news coverage was 24/7 on TV. Everyone was uneasy, walking around the streets and stuff, like going to get food and whatnot. Like everyone was kind of looking at each other like they were fucking terrorists. They probably saw my fucking beard and thought that. But it was such a surreal experience, just walking around knowing that something may happen. And there was rumours, they like said on the TV and on the news and stuff, that there may be more terrorist attacks. They have suspected more terrorist attacks. I think ISIS claimed the attack, so that was fantastic for them, not for the rest of the people who got fucking destroyed. But it was kind of after the French, or the ones that happened in Paris, I believe, in 2015. So that was, it was definitely after. So this happened in 2016, the Brussels bombings, and in late 2015 there was a big terrorist attack in France. Yeah, so in 2015 there was a terrorist attack in Paris, in France, and I think they killed a lot of people. But here's a little bit of information about it. On the morning of the 22nd of March 2016, 3 coordinated suicide bombings occurred in Belgium. 2 at the Brussels airport in Zaventem, and 1 at the metro at Melbeek metro station in central Brussels. 32 civilians and 3 perpetrators were killed. And I don't think I've clicked I did. I'm just fucking up myself now. 32 civilians and 3 perpetrators were killed, and more than 300 people were injured. Another bomb was found during the search of the airport. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, whatever the fuck that is, Levant, claimed responsibility for the attacks. The perpetrators belonged to the terrorist cell which had been involved in November 2015 Paris attacks. The Brussels bombings happened shortly after a series of police raids targeting the group. The bombers were the deadliest act of terrorism in Belgium's history. The Belgian government declared 3 days of national mourning. So it was pretty fucked. As I said, 35 deaths, 32 victims, 3 perpetrators, so we don't give 2 fucks about the perpetrators, but they're part of it, and 340 people injured, 62 critical. I remember when that happened, that there was a big thing about the, I think is it Schengen, which allows you to just go around Europe willy-nilly, which is pretty fucking fantastic, but there's no real, what would you say, there's no real, I mean, there's security, but people can travel so easily around, get off. Sometimes you don't even get your passports and shit stamped, so it's really strange. But I remember when that happened, they were talking about canning that and getting rid of it. So it did have some effects later on. The timeline of the attack: 7:55 in the morning. 3 suspected attackers arrive at the airport in a taxi. So my original flight that I was going to take, but because I'm lazy and pushed my flight back until I think it was 12, that happened so they got there at 7:55 in the morning, and then 3 minutes later, at 7:58, 2 explosions occurred in the airport's check-in area 9 seconds apart. 8:20, rail transport in the airport is halted, road closures begin. 9:04, Belgium raises its terror threat to its highest level. Handy. 9:11, explosion in Brussels Belgium metro station kills at least 20 people. So most people died in the metro. 9:27, all public transport is suspended in the city. 11:15, Eurostar rail journeys between London and Brussels are cancelled until further notice. So there was a shit ton of people in the hostel leaving, and like that morning and whatnot, and it was pretty crazy because everyone was stuck there, and we were all just stuck in a hostel, just being like, so are we gonna get blown up soon, or what the fuck's going on? It was such a weird thing. 5:14, Belgian police detonate a suspicious package at the Brussels airport, so that's the bomb they found. Sorry, that was at 5:14, and then at 7:30, a police raid in Schaerbeek finds a nail bomb and an ISIL flag. So that was pretty crazy. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 countries had people die. Obviously, biggest was Belgium, but it was fucked, to say the least. Very lucky that I wasn't at the airport, because that would have been not the best fucking day. I ended up getting a bus to Berlin, and that took 16 hours to get to Berlin because of all I believe they were stopping traffic and going through every border security type thing because obviously there had been big terrorist attacks in Belgium, so it halted a lot of other cities around Europe. But yeah, very shitty time. I've never experienced anything like that. I assume most people listening to this have never experienced anything like that because it's so unprecedented for developed countries, I guess, lack of a better word. So yeah, I would not fucking suggest being anywhere where there's a terrorist attack. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I just wanted to say sometimes laziness gets you out of trouble, like it did for me when I was in Belgium and got the later flight, because I easily could have been blown up, which is pretty weird to think about, but oh well, shit happens. On my way back to Australia, so that was actually the last part of Europe I was doing. I went to like 4 or 5 other countries and then decided to go via Southeast Asia on the way home. I first went to Bangkok, ended up meeting my future housemate in Canada, in Bangkok at a hostel, if Jake's listening. which was pretty incredible. Just he got his passport stolen and had to stay an extra 4 nights in Bangkok. He got changed to our room, and we got on like a house on fire, me and Jake. And then 2 years later, 2018, I moved to Vancouver, and he had moved from Montreal to Vancouver. And 2019, I ended up moving in with him because his housemates moved out. So the people you meet on your travels, as I said, it's you go and you make lifelong good friends and stuff like that. Unfortunately, Nick, Janosch, and John nearly got me blown up in Belgium, meeting them in fucking Spain, but it's all good. One of the things that I did on the way home, though, was I decided, instead of drinking for another 4 or 5 months in Southeast Asia, that I would actually go and try and better myself and do Muay Thai, which I'd always wanted to try. So I ended up doing that at Tiger Muay Thai. The reason that came about was I was in Cambodia, I met an American dude, Ryan, and he was like, "Hey, fatty, I've lost like 40 kilos, you should come up and do Muay Thai." And I was like, nah. And then I found out one of my other mates who was traveling was there doing Muay Thai as well. And we became friends on Facebook, Ryan and I was tagged in something with Ryan. And then my other mate saw it, Callum, and he started chatting to me. He's like, "Oh, I'm doing Muay Thai, Tiger Muay Thai. You should come up and do it." And I was like, "Oh, at least I know 2 people." And I went up there, and I ended up staying there for 3 months. I think I was 125 kilos when I went there, and I walked out at about 90. So went pretty hard, applied myself for the 3 months. I'll be honest, I put all that weight on as soon as I got back to Australia. So it was fun, but I never kept the weight off, which sucks. Maybe I'll go back. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about training in Thailand, because I've been asked about it by a few people. It's really interesting. These days with how big UFC is, a lot of people want to give it a shot and stuff. A lot of big UFC fighters go there. I think Alexander Volkanovski, Peter Yan, Valentina Shevchenko, I think I said that wrong, but Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa was there when I was there. I think George St. Pierre has been there before. Mark Hunt, a shit ton of people, big UFC fighters. And that's the crazy thing, is you'll be doing your basic Muay Thai at the very beginning, then you change into intermediate, then advanced, and if you were some sort of killer, you can actually end up fighting for the Tiger Muay Thai gym. And you'll see a lot of people in the UFC with Tiger Muay Thai emblem on their shorts, usually, and I'm pretty sure Valentina Shevchenko, the fucking brutal, I think she's Polish or Russian, one of the two, the champ, I'm pretty sure she's there all the time. So I wrote down so 1 week, if you went there for 1 week, it's 5,000 baht, it's $223. That's all inclusive training, so you would get, you could do everything. You could do Muay Thai, BJJ, grappling, CrossFit, there's all these other little fitness shit you can do, yoga, Western boxing, there's so much shit that you can do, so many groups, so that's all inclusive. So that costs you 223 Australian dollars for 1 week. 1 month is 15,500 baht, which is about $693 for the month, and it's pretty much a 1 month membership, gym membership, that you would get in Australia. Sorry, a 1 year gym membership you would get in Australia, you would do in a month. But the good thing about being in Thailand is it's hot as fuck. So any type of physical exercise, like putting on your fucking thongs or your flippers, you get a sweater. So if you take it seriously and you don't fucking drink and party and shit, you will lose weight. Hey, you can even buy steroids at the fucking pharmacy, and anyone can do it. So if you wanted to go there and become a fucking beast, you could do it easily. For 3 months, it is 41,000 baht, and that's about 1,850 Australian dollars. So they're the pricing. So 1 month, 1 week's 223, 1 month is 692, and 3 months is 1833. It's kind of like putting cheat code. If you're a big fat fuck like I am, it's kind of like putting cheat codes in, because you train for 2 hours a session doing Muay Thai. So you can either do Muay Thai in the morning from 7 until 9. Then you fuck around for the day doing shit. I did that at the very start. I did that for 2 weeks. Muay Thai in the morning, 7 a.m. And then I would go home and take a snooze and then have lunch and stuff. Go back for 3 p.m. Do another 2-hour Muay Thai. And then I was just figured out that I was just too fat and I was doing more harm than not, because I was just too sore to train properly and stuff like that. So I cut it back to the 2 hours. I would do the afternoons, and then, you just hang out with friends and stuff. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's training there. So you start in the basic class, and they'll just teach you how to punch and kick and block and stuff like that, and do the clinch. You'll spar. Everyone spars. So you will fight other people. In the intermediate, in the basic, you will, it's pretty easy. You will be sweating your ass off. It's hard in that respect, but they don't let you kick the fuck out of each other, the trainers and stuff like that. There's probably about 10 trainers in each class, so you get to do like one-on-one pads and stuff like that for probably like 3 rounds, so you're fucking dying, like it's fucking brutal. Then you'll go through basic into intermediate, and then that becomes a bit more full on. And then you'll just, your sparring intensifies, people are taking it a bit more seriously. If someone's kicking the shit out of you, you can be like, hey, settle the fuck down, I'm retarded, you're hurting me, like, I'm not here to get hurt, I'm here to train, learn things. 9 times out of 10, they're absolutely fine, unless there's some Russian psycho, and then they just kick the fuck out of you, which happened to me multiple times. It doesn't go on height and stuff, obviously, with Muay Thai and mixed martial arts. It goes on your weight. So whereas I was a big fat fucking bastard, which I still am, I went with dudes that were like 6 foot fucking 5, and they just pummeled me, and it sucked. I was just a punching bag, but I lost weight and then went down to the lower weight class, I suppose you would say. You just get matched up. The trainers will just go, you and you spar, you and you. So they just kind of match you up on fucking just weight and stuff like that. And they get to know your ability pretty quick if you go in there every day. So it's pretty fun. You get the shit kicked out of you, you got bruises, but it does toughen you up. It does teach you some actual mixed martial arts, because it is kicking and stuff like that. So kicking, punching, clinch, trips, all that type of stuff. And then you can go and do your MMA, so you can actually learn grappling and stuff like that. And you can go do boxing, Western boxing, Muay Baran, all these other type of traditional fighting styles that they have. The whole area in Phuket, where so Phuket's the main fucking joint, and then it's about an hour away from Phuket, I'm pretty sure. And this whole area is purely Muay Thai training. There is like 5 or 6 different gyms. I should say Tiger Muay Thai is the most expensive gym by a fair fucking way. So if you want a cheaper option, and to be honest, probably better training, because so many people go to Tiger Muay Thai, I would suggest if you're you want to learn fighting, you are trying to become a fighter or something like that, I would suggest going to a smaller gym, and you'll get more one-on-one training done. If you want private lessons with a Muay Thai fighter that's probably had 200, 300, 400, 500 fights, it costs you 700 baht. That is the going rate for every gym, because you're using them individually and they don't undercut each other. So if one gym's doing $400, then everyone will get pissed off at them because everyone's being undercut. So they've kind of all agreed that 700 baht is the price. Any gym you go to, one-on-one training, which is fucking brutal. It's just punching pads, kicking, just terrible exercises. You want to die. And that's how they make their money. That's how the trainers make all their money. So often they will hit you up and be like, do you want to do a private? Do you want to do a private? Which the class for me was absolutely enough. One of the cool things I got to do, on the first day that I was there, I met a guy named Bob. He was originally from the Netherlands. He moved to St. Martin, became a procurer for super yachts. Anything they needed, he would get. Anything they needed, he would get. I actually fought him it's called a barbecue beatdown. They have that the last Saturday of every month, I believe. So they have 12 a year, and they've done it from the very start. What happens is you buy a ticket. It's about 40 or 50 Australian dollars. It's free if you fight. I fought Bob. We had trained from day one until that time. I was 27 kilos heavier than him. He was the same height as me, so about 5'11", and we fought each other in front of about 600 people, which is pretty incredible. I won, which was great. I think Bob won in, like, realistically, and they probably just went for me because I was a big fat man. But that was a lot of fun, pretty sore for the next couple of days. We wore pads, shin pads, obviously boxing gloves. But yeah, we tried to kill each other, which was pretty fun. And to fight in front of 600 people, like cheering and shit, I kicked Bob in the dick one point or twice, and I kicked him so hard. I literally broke my foot on his cut. So that was pretty funny. The accommodation is super duper cheap. It is there's 2 seasons. There's the off season and the tourist peak season. I've been there for both, but the prices aren't that different. It costs about $15 to $20 a night for a fucking hotel room, which will have an ensuite, a big king size bed, TV, refrigerator, everything you need. It's really comfortable. It's like $20 a night. So if you're there for, your 3 months or something, it's probably going to cost you. With food's about fucking $2 to $5 a meal. It's pretty fucking cheap. Probably cost you about $4.5 grand for 3 months. And most of that, half that money is just the gym membership. And you don't have to get all inclusive, but if you want to use the weights room and everything, I would highly suggest it. So you just book in advance. You can stay at Tiger Muay Thai. The only bad thing about staying at Tiger Muay Thai is they start blaring music at about 6 or 8 a.m. in the morning, and it doesn't go off until about 8 p.m. So it's fucking loud. So if you want a good night's sleep, don't stay at Tiger. Also, if you're heading to Tiger, I wouldn't recommend eating there because the portion sizes are tiny, and it's probably about 3 or 4 times the price. You can actually buy all your Muay Thai gear, all your boxing gear, whatever, at the Tiger Muay Thai shop. Once again, super expensive because it has the Muay Thai logos, but there is a fucking 3-4 different places to buy shit just on that one road. And everything's there. All the gyms, food, all your gear, bars. There's plenty of bars for drinking too. You can go on, you can get go to a bar, have your food, probably get a prostitute if you want. You can go down to the pharmacy, get something for your STDs, get some steroids while you're at it, and then go to Muay Thai the next morning. A lot of people do that. It's awesome. It sounds like I'm painting it in a bad description or a bad light, but it is really what you make it. I got fantastic results when I've been there and trained, so I would highly recommend that. If you've always struggled to lose weight, I would highly recommend going there and training Muay Thai. You can take it at your own speed. You don't have to. If you weren't enjoying one class, you could just go to another. It caters for everyone, from the absolute novice, which I am, to UFC world champs. Like, that's the in-between, and that's why Tiger is so good. But I'm just saying there's other options for accommodation and food and stuff like that. So don't think you've got to look at the Tiger prices and think like, oh no, this is it. Like, you can just do a little bit of fucking sleuthing, bit of research, and you'll find some awesome options. You can also rent scooters there. You can have a scooter for, I think you can rent it for the week, 2 weeks, a month type thing. I had a scooter the whole time. I lived about 15-minute walk away from Tiger Muay Thai, and I would just hum there for my fucking training, and then just go get some food, go to the pool, whatever. Every place has a pool as well, I think, besides Tiger Muay Thai. But if you stay at Tiger Muay Thai, you will meet so many fucking people, because there's a lot of people there, and everyone's pretty friendly. Obviously, like anything, there's a lot of dicks everywhere, but you just weed those guys out and you just hang out with people you enjoy. So, yeah, this has been episode 19. It's Travel Stories Part 2. Next week I should have a guest. I've got someone locked in. So, tune in. Pool table's going to be finished soon. That doesn't give two fucks to you guys. But, I'm still getting a lot of messages on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that from people saying what they enjoy. As I said, if there's something that you really don't enjoy, please tell me. I've got thick skin. Just thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast and the YouTube channel. I think I mentioned early on that I've got the new podcast is coming out on the 3rd of December, Tait and Cody's Guide to Life. So please tune into that one, because it's if you're after a laugh, that's the one. That is the fucking one. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week. Cheers, bye. Bye.
That's the end of the Tait Talks podcast. Yeah. Motherfuckers.